Good night, everyone. Johnson. Tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma J. Spiritual Vine. I'm here to give you word out tonight. Um, the title gonna be Jacob got blessed a second time by Isaac. You know, we still talking about chapter 28. So this is a continue on what we talked about yesterday. So we left off at yesterday when Jacob had taken Esau's blessing the second time. Jacob had took advantage of Esau. You know, it's the second time he took advantage of Esau. You know, first he took his birthright. You know, manipulate him to give him that for a bowl of food. You know, and then Esau, you know, wants to kill him because it's the second time he done took advantage of Esau, and so Jacob had flee where his mother had told him to go by his brother's house. So this lesson today is called Isaac had called Jacob to bless him a second time. You know, because he obeyed his parents, but Esau did not obey. So he got exit included um, through the bloodline, through any kind of blessing. You know, so this package is going to be coming from, we still in chapter 28, but this is going to be verse 1 through 9. Okay, now Isaac had called Jacob. You know, you remember Jacob stole Esau's blessing. You know, and the mama told him to go flee by her brother's house. But now, you know, Isaac have a command to say to the boys before he died. The same command that Abraham had give Isaac, you know, it was an instruction from God. You know, so to bless him the second time. So he command the boys, do not marry a Canaanite woman. You know, go at once to the house of your mother, where your mother told you to go at, by her brother, you know, and take a wife for yourself there among the daughters of Laman. You know, that's her brother's name. You know, so now this is Isaac had given him instruction on what kind of wife, you know, to marry, like Abraham did him. You know, just like Abraham had told him, and he obeyed his father. You know, Abraham. You know, he obeyed Abraham, and we got the wife that Abraham had told him to get. You know, also Isaac told him, may God Almighty, you know, bless you and make you fruitful, you know, and increase in your numbers until you become a community of a nation. And you know that's what his offspring gonna be. They're gonna be a nation. You know the Israelite gonna be so large you ain't gonna be able to count them. You ain't gonna be able to keep up with them. You know so may he give you and your descendants a blessing that's given to Abraham. You know so that you may take possession of the land where you now resides as a firm. You know so now first Abraham get all the blessings to Isaac. You know, now Isaac at his dying point, so where he wanted to give all his blessings to Jacob, you know, because Jacob obeyed. You know, Esau didn't. You know, so the land God had give Abraham, you know, um, Isaac had sent Jacob on his way. You know, after he get Jacob the command, you know, the command come from God. And then Abraham translated to Isaac, and Isaac obeyed. Now Isaac translating the same command to Jacob. You know, so now he sent him on his way. You know, so that means he obeyed his father. You know, and he went to his mother brother house land. You know, Rebecca brother. So that means Jacob obeyed his father and gonna take the wife from the daughters of Laman, just like his father told him to. You know, so we see that Isaac called Jacob to give him a command and give him all the blessing that what Abraham now is being delivered to Jacob. You know, is blessed. You know, from obeying his parents. You know, so that's what God have in the Bible, Ephesians chapter 6. You know, he said, obey your parents and you'll live a long life. You know, we see that Abraham live a long life. We see Isaac live a long life. When you live to 100 years old and past 100, you done live a long and prosperous life. You know, that's why in the Bible, God said, obey your parents. You know, Jacob obeyed his parents, you know, and he got blessing overflowing. So Isaac instruct him on what kind of wife to marry. The same instruction Abraham had get him. That these instructions came from God. Jacob obeyed. Jacob obeyed, and he married one of Laban's own daughter. Matter of fact, he married both of them. You know, so we see that Jacob been blessed twice. Even though he took Esau's blessing, it was meant to be because he was the third link of God's plan. You know, God ain't get mad. Because Jacob was the link of God's own plan. Not Esau. Even though Esau disobeyed, he still wasn't part of God's plan. So a lot of time it was meant for what Jacob did, and then look how it turned out. He got more blessing on top of blessing. Now Esau learned. Now Isaac hadn't blessed Jacob. Jacob is blessed, is just overflowing. And now Esau the heard that, and remember, he begged his daddy to bless him. Isaac said, I don't have anything for you. What you want me to do? Now he here. He heard that Isaac had blessed Jacob, a second time. Jacob stole his blessing, but then Isaac called him to bless him a second time. So Jacob had sent him um to take a wife from there and do not marry a Canaanite woman, and Jacob had obeyed his parents. Now Esau did realize. Now he realized how displeasing the Canaanite women was to his father Isaac. Now he see how Jacob obeyed and we got the wife that Isaac want him to marry. But Esau wants to get a wife in the same land the instruction came from God, do not marry no Canaanite woman, that the land that y'all is living on. So one of the Canaanite women, but now he realized, how his parent is displeasing of him. He see how Jacob obeyed and got blessed again. He begged for a blessing, but then he being disobedient, so he ain't gonna get nothing at all. So then Esau went to Ishmael, that's Abraham's oldest son, and married one of his daughters. In addition to all the other wives that he took on. Ishmael is Abraham's oldest son from the slave woman Hagar, but Esau been excluded out of everything, because God did not want none of them to marry a Canaanite woman, but he did it anyway. So now, we at the closing of Genesis 28, verse 1 to 9. The Almighty God had blessed Jacob. Even though Jacob stole Esau's blessing, but it was meant to be. Not today. It's the last part of Genesis where Isaac had take a leading role. Now it will be Jacob who takes center stage. It will be Jacob who's gonna take center stage. That's why it wasn't no big deal that he took Esau on blessing, because it was meant to be. So Abraham pictured God the Father throughout his time. Abraham loved God. He trusted God so much. Although he did take on other roles. Isaac, you know, Isaac was a picture of God, the Son. Like these two great men, of faith that did their time and then now stand in the background. So they stand in the background. Abraham served God. He loved the God. He trusted God in all kind of ways. He was a righteous man. Anytime he took his only son that he waited for a long time, that he trusted God so much to do that. So then he stood in the background. When Isaac was born, and let Isaac take over and get Isaac all the blessings that he had. And now Isaac taking a back seat. Because they say here that Jacob gonna be the center of the stage. His family the one gonna bring God's plan to the finish line. So the men of faith, they are in their time, they now stand in the background. Now Rebecca too is done. She's done. She didn't listen twice and dictate all kind of stuff. Now they separate. She got both her boys separated. One run this way, one this way. She got all kind of confusion just by listening and translating stuff to her favorite son. You know, so last week her final words was spoken, and now she only be mentioned in the relation of something else. So we ain't gonna hear nothing about Esau until like 20 years later. He gonna meet with Jacob, and then after that you ain't gonna hear no more Esau. So as always, the Bible direct our attention. You have to read it so carefully. I'm reading it so carefully and do research and everything. It's so many parts of details that we have to catch. So as always, the Bible direct our attention, towards specific key figures. That's why I just saying, only for the purpose of showing us God's plan of redemption. And I done read these stories over and over, and we get all kind of parts of God's plan with with the Israelite, and His thought, in heart to us. Now we ain't gonna never know God's thoughts. God's thoughts, His ways is higher, way higher than ours. All we can do is keep reading that Bible, and try to understand it. But we ain't gonna never get to God thoughts. We ain't gonna never know His thoughts. We ain't gonna never know His ways. And God don't give all His details all at one time. He don't never get all His details all at one time. It be in the pulse. It's just like with Elijah. He'll tell Elijah, I need you to go here and go here. He'll give him the smallest details. Then when he get there, the woman child died, and he clueless because he didn't even know that was part of God's plan. To show His glory and everything. So He don't give you all the parts. He'll give you the piece by piece. So we ain't gonna never know His thoughts. So redemption in His thoughts and heart to us. Now these people lives is full of lives, and many stories. Many stories because it go on from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. I mean, this is history that the story just constantly go on. We constantly, even when you start getting to closer to the New Testament, you're still talking about Abraham. You're still talking about Isaac and Jacob. It's history. And it could be told of the things they did. But God had just chosen specific detail for His purpose alone. So He chose a special purpose. A special details, for His purpose alone. Now He will give us little parts, little by little, until His whole plan come together. You know, so this is to continue on chapter 28. Jacob had stole Esau blessing, you know, but then Isaac had won a command to give his boys before he died. The same commands that Abraham gave him that came from God. Do not take a Canaanite woman and marry. You have to go and see. They wants to keep it in the family. Abraham told Isaac, you get him on. Told his servant, go to the my old hometown, and get him a wife there. So just like he had told when Abraham explained himself, when the king asked him, why you said this is your sister? Deep down inside, Abraham said, she is my sister. She is a sister of his brother, or someone he saved. But we read that passage. She is his sister, just like Isaac married Rebecca. That still was part of his family. He told him to go in the hood, the old hood town where he lived at. So they finding wives inside of the family. He don't want them to get a wife on the Canaanites on land. So that's just like Abraham. Sarah come from the line of his father. And they from Noah sons. So they right after the flood had when God just destroyed that whole nation. And so Abraham come from Noah when they flood. So Sarah come from his father line, bloodline. So it's like they all keeping it in the family. You know, but we see that Jacob obeyed his parents. He commanded him to go. You go head on with where your mother send you at by her brother house, and you're gonna take one of their wives. So Jacob like okay, he left and he went. That means he obeyed his parents. But Esau took so many wives, and were not the wives that Isaac had commanded him to do. And then at the last minute, then he want to go try to take a wife for Abraham, older son's daughter. It was too late. You done took too many wives in that land when God had told you not to take no wife in that land. So they exit him out. You ain't gonna hear no more about Esau into he reuniting with Jacob. So we see that Jacob stole Esau's blessing, what it was meant to be, because Isaac turned around and had called Jacob to come back to bless him a second time until his cup was running over. And that was because he is the third link of God's plan. He gonna be the center stage of God's plan, God's purpose. It's gonna be all about Jacob. Jacob offspring, gonna multiply so greatly. So you ain't gonna be able to keep up with him. You ain't gonna be able to count him, just like you cannot count the stars in the sky. So Jacob have Jacob have mistakes. He flawless, like they had said, but he's a faithful person. He obeyed. He obeyed, and that's the main key. That's how Isaac, was. That's how Abraham was. You have to be faithful, and you have to obey. You might have flaws. You might make mistakes, but long as you pray, just like they said, Jacob, he have flaws. He makes mistakes, but he very faithful. He very faithful to God. He very faithful to his parents. And that's in the Bible. You have to obey your parents. He obeyed his parents. He obeyed the command. He listened and he listened with the instructions that his father gave him, and he left and did just what he said. So that's all the word I have for you on tonight, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a blessed night.